What kind of difficulty did you have? Because I can't, like, for me, for instance, like, I can't code for shit.
Yeah.
When I can do math, though.
It definitely comes with its challenges. You know, I've run into a lot of different things, especially in the last week of working on things. I've been crunching with a lot of things to build upon things to have for this. So before I show everything that I've been working on, I want to give the absolute biggest shout out that I can. Like, I've given out a shout out to Ego Raptor and to Mark Brown. I want to give out another one to Mr. Taft. There's a channel on YouTube named Mr. Taft Creates, and he is I believe he's a high school teacher in Montana, but he has a series basically recreating A Link to the Past in Unity. And from him, from all those videos and everything else that he puts out, he also has a Discord channel that I'm a part of where he responds super fast. Like, it's awesome. He has definitely become my biggest mentor in game development in the last few months. I have learned so much from him, so I just wanted to give him a big shout out. Most of what I've learned, especially for this game, has been from him. So I'll go here into my snow world, go into my overworld. So let me turn off my this UI here so that you can see a little better. But this is right now what I have for the snow region. Here, I'll expand this out a little bit.
How long did it take you to do that?
The art and tiling probably overall took a month. So my process for this, the first thing I did, I got graph paper and I drew it all out on there, and then I thought through like game design stuff, and I did a bunch of research on game design and map making to decide basically, you know, this dude in the ice right here, he is strategically right here, so that you're going to walk past him to get when you're on your way to this temple.
I see.
Because, you know, you want to see that and you want to remember and jot that down. A big thing in game design is having players make a mental map of where they've been and what they've seen. So you see this and you make this mental map. You see this, the palace over the ledge, and you make a mental map of it. And you think like, okay, I know where that is. I want to get there.
Right.
And later on, when you find out how you can melt ice, you know, you'll remember, oh, I remember seeing this dude right here, and you can go and you can see him. So I also have, I didn't go into this, but right here is a small little ice puzzle. Right here is going to be a shop.
Okay.
So when you start the game, you know, you're in this little village. You want to get to the shop, so you're going to have to go through an ice puzzle. And it's a way of teaching the player the mechanics of an ice puzzle and, you know, telling them, okay, like, this is how it works, and it's in a very simple format, so that when you get here, you have already been introduced to this mechanic, and now you can do it in a way more advanced format to get into the temple.
Okay.
So a big thing with game design with that is just like teaching. You want to
lead the player.
Yeah, you want to lead the player, but not give it away. You want to teach them new mechanics. Mario does this very, very well. I'll talk about another thing that Mark Brown has taught me, actually. So Mario uses I believe it's I can't remember the word for it, but it's a Chinese poem structure, I believe, that goes in 4 stages. And the first stage is basically like an introduction and introducing something new.
Right.
The second stage is building upon that. The third stage is flipping it on its head and giving it a like different kind of format. So, you know, maybe I can have something like within the temple of an ice puzzle that really changes up what you've already learned from the ice puzzles while still using those mechanics. And then finally, the 4th stage is the finale, where you use that mechanic to do that. And Mario uses this in almost every level in every Mario game. You know, you start out a level and you learn about moving platforms, and then you have to go through those moving platforms, and then maybe it takes away the land beneath the moving platforms, so now there's a risk involved with it, and then it flips on its head, where maybe you control the moving platforms, and eventually you get to the end of the level and you have to jump upon those moving platforms to get to the flag. So that's a huge thing with game design that I've been very interested in, and I've tried to implement that in specific ways.
I get you.
But so Joe, to answer your question, I basically drew it all out on a grid and on graph paper, and then so each room is 32 by 22 squares or units, and each unit is 32 by 32 pixels. So basically, I just transformed everything that was on the graph paper into this and drew it all out. The art that I'm using right now, I actually bought this. It's an Ancient Dungeons bundle. You should definitely check that out. This art's fucking beautiful. I love it. It also comes with, I have like a jungle one, and then a base pack that comes with houses and buildings and a town and everything.
Dude,
it's very beautiful. I love it.
So useful.
Absolutely, yes. Unfortunately, I'm changing all the art, so it's
all of it's gonna be
not
gone,
going to look like this. But I do have to give a huge shout out and credit to that because I am in love with this art. So basically, for the very first thing I did, I made the map. I went kind of square by square, room by room. Shit. So first I made this, and then I worked on the character controller, of course, and I worked on my camera movement. So the way I have that working, actually, I'll talk about that. So on my main camera, I have a script that is finding the max and min position. So basically, if I find my camera,
so you set
here,
like parameters in order for like the camera to just look at what it needs to look at.
Exactly. So like right here-ish, if you can see the outline of the camera, that is about where this room's min position is. So that creates that boundary, and then up here is the max. So basically I find those units and I put them in here.
I see.
And then whenever I have these in my world, I have I have transitions. So this transition right here, is just a short little trigger, and when you collide with the player, it is moving the camera max and min over, and it's by negative 32 because it's moving left on the x-axis. So negative 32, and it's also moving my player over a little bit, so I'm out of that hitbox. And that's how I have the camera actually sliding over.
I get you.
I felt like that was a very interesting thing that I figured out. That was very, very early on, probably the third thing that I made. I also have all of my enemies kind of put within these rooms. So room 3, C3 is one ABC 3 on the grid, and all of these enemies are within these confines. So when I leave here, it's actually destroying the pots and the enemies within this, so that it's saving memory in the computer. And then when I re-enter the scene, they're going to be back.
Okay.
So that also deals with respawn. So if I kill a bunch of enemies and I leave that boundary, I can have it to where after I've gone through a few other boundaries, those enemies will respawn. So when you go back, they're back.
Okay, that explains the whole mechanics from I played. I was like, what did they keep going? I killed them.
Yeah, exactly. They're kind of within those confines. So, what else? I have a coin counter. I got my health. What else would y'all like to see? I could show this dungeon. So, probably shouldn't have saved that, but oh well. Let me. I have these edge markers turned on just so that I could figure out all the grid and everything.
Right.
But see, I have this here, so I have it going into this room, and then I have this door animated to where when you press the switch, it actually has a parameter of this door, which is tied to that.
Okay, I see.
And so whenever this switch is pressed, it creates the animation to open this. It also deactivates its collision box so that you can walk through.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So with enemies, they have those collision boxes as well.
Yeah.
That move along with them.
Yeah. So let me go back to my overworld here, and I can show my little fox. So right here we got this fox, and I can show my animation. So I have idle animations, or an idle animation for him to face it down, and then I also have my walk down. I have my walk left. So it's just going through these different animations by use of blend tree, and that is here. So when on entry, when the game starts, it's idle down, and then if is awake is true, I'm actually going into my walking, which if I double click has a blend tree with motion. So see, 1 is on the Y would be up, so walk up animation, and then so on and so forth. So that's how I have the enemy animation and like them walking and everything. And then their hitboxes are just a part of the actual enemies. See, so I have this box collider is its own collision, and then this one is its damage collision. This is what when the player interacts with.
So in order for them to have A, like interaction with the player, and then B, damage capabilities, they need to have 2 different colliders in order to do that.
If you're doing it the way that I'm doing it, yeah. So basically, I have that. I can open up it's in my log script. Mr. Taft walked us through making a enemy that is a sleeping log, and I used a lot of code for that to use for the fox. I just haven't changed it from log to fox. But so if I can go through here,
I mean, you know what they say about coding, where it's like most of the people who do code steal it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I try not to steal any code. Of course, he's teaching all of this, and it's all.
The thing is, most code,
walking us through it.
Most code is just like kind of based. Like you have a code to do something, and it's like it's a basic thing that you would need to know in order to get anything working.
Yeah. Like a lot of things with code. Like I mean, there's different ways to go about everything, of course, and ways that are better for a computer to handle, and also ones that are better for movement and for the player. But you have to find the sweet spot of what you want and how it works, and you just have to kind of change your code up until it works the way that you want it. So after this podcast, as of right now, I'm teaching myself with 3D modeling, of course. Once I do that and I can create the next environment, I think it's going to be the beach in the forest. And once I create those, I can basically re-go through all of this. First of all, I'll have to change everything that is working in a 2D space to work in a 3D space, and that'll come with all sorts of challenges on its own.
Okay.
But after that, I'll be going through everything that I currently have before I move on with anything else, and redoing my code, making everything work exactly what feels right for the game.
Yeah.
So
would you have it to where it's like a 3D space, but instead of the camera being... traditionally, like 3D games are like first person or third person or whatever. So but you'd have it locked in the same parameters that you would now.
The way my camera is working right now, that actually should, for the most part, other than changing from 2D to 3D, stay the same.
Okay.
It's going to be looking down on your player, where you can walk around in the world, and you have this top-down view with confines on the camera. However, one thing I've been thinking of lately, and I haven't made my final decision yet. But the whole scene transition thing, I like it, but I've lately kind of felt like there's a disconnect with the exploration and that. Okay. And exploration is one of the biggest pillars of this game. It's something that I want it to be done the right way that I imagine it for this game. So I think I'm actually going to have the overworld be one fluid room, where I can still have confines, to where I'm destroying things that I'm not seeing within the camera's viewpoint, so that it's saving memory and everything. Still doing the same thing that I'm doing with it right now. However, it'll be more fluid. You can walk around this world and you can really feel like it's this huge open space.
So instead of having like the camera confined to like a sector like C3 or whatever, you would have just the camera constraining to the player's movement.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it would still follow the player like how it does now. There's no the whole scene transition thing that I talked about, that I was like, oh, I really like how this works. That's not going to be in the game.
Right. So like as far as like scene transitions, I guess. Would you have like, while the character is indeed like walking like with the camera, would you have enemies and things like that dematerialize as you walk away from them then?
Yeah. So the way that these rooms and everything are set up with the grid, I'll have to research and look more into how that would work once it's in a 3D space. However, I believe it should work the same sort of way. Just basically, I would change the room grid to be the size of it'd probably be the same actually, just made sure to where, so basically if I walk through here and the camera is still seeing things over here, I don't want it to be destroying objects and taking them out or setting them as inactive while I can still see it, of course, you know. I don't want to, so I'd have to find a way to have it destroy them once it's out of the camera. That could also, though, have some kind of repercussions with how the enemies would work and everything.
Oh, there's a lot of repercussions to be had when it comes to coding.
yeah. There's definitely, you have to find the best method to go about doing what you want to do that isn't going to break everything else. Everything in coding is adding something and breaking everything, and then refixing those things before you add something else.
Right, and break everything again.
Exactly, yeah. It's every time I add something new in code and then I click play, the thing I think in my head is, let's see what we broke. Mr. Taft does that as well, actually. In all of his videos and his tutorials and everything, he'll click play and go, oh, let's see what we broke this time. And usually it happens. It's just you can't avoid it.
It's the nature of the beast.
No one can be perfect at coding. So I wanted to show actually. So, you know, this is like a lot of work already done on the map. Well, I want to show because I want this game to be huge. You know, this is a huge open world.
Right.
This is ABCD 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
So it is a 4x4 chunk.
Okay.
Of the entire game, which if I go back to my map, is literally only this right here. Everything that you just saw, everything I walked around in is only this 4x4 little chunk of this entire world.
Okay.
So there's a lot of work to be done.
Oh, no. Definitely.
For sure. This will be a very, very long time from now release. But I'm definitely glad I could do this podcast and like kind of show the very origins of it so that, you know, years from now, whenever it's reaching its completion, I can look back and be like, wow, it looked like shit.
Yep. So that's the plan, sir. That's the plan.
Yeah. But I eventually, once I have a lot more in the game that I can show for and that I can work on, once I have the new art style kind of implemented, I'm planning to definitely start like a dev blog and maybe a YouTube channel or something where I can just kind of show my process and show going through everything, and, you know, give some help to other indie game developers that may need it, that may be at the point where I am, where I'm just starting. And, you know, like, I do know a year ago, I just started getting into it, like literally printing Hello World.
That's true.
Screen. It's like that's every developer's first project is Hello World. And 1 year ago, about a year and a month ago, I was at that point, and now I'm here. So I feel like I've come a pretty long ways in a year, and I've done a lot of good things, and I'm definitely excited to see where it goes from here, and with more and more years of my career and time and work put into this. Yeah. So, yeah. Do we want to show our Game Jam project?
Let's show our Game Jam project.
Yeah, that's what I want to see.
Because Joe, you haven't gotten to see that yet.
No, I haven't.
Let's go into that. I'll go into
I'll explain what a Game Jam is while you're doing this.
Go through that.
So Game Jam is essentially like not a contest per se, but more so like a gathering.
A contest with yourself to see.
It's like the Laser Quest things they used to have when you were a kid.
Yeah, you just want to see how good you can be by the end of it all.
Yeah.
So we were given 48 hours to create a fully functioning game. And there are like parameters and stuff like, oh, is the game fun? Is it functional? Does it look good? Like stuff that like, you know, judges would see. Judges is a very loose term because there's more like people. Everyone
it was other developers coming through and seeing what we made, you know. Yeah. So Game Jams, I'll go kind of over that more in detail real fast. So Game Jams are held by several different organizations all throughout the year. I've been very interested in them ever since I started learning game development, and I had always wanted to do one. And my New Year's resolution was, you know what? I'm gonna do one this year. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try my hand. I'm gonna see how it goes. And I looked up and I found out Global Game Jam was that weekend. And so Global Game Jam is one of the biggest game jams of the year. It happens once a year in January, and it is the entire world doing it at the same time. And basically whenever right when like timers start and everything, whenever the 48 hours starts, they give you a theme. So the theme this year, we can say that because it's way past it. But the theme for us was what does home mean to you? So the idea with this game was basically you are a kid, you were a kid, now you're an adult, and you are working in this office space. Oh, do we have sound going through to the podcast?
Let's see.
Or I guess we could turn up the...
Sound's on.
No, we got it.
Yeah, no, audio's
going
up.
through.
Cool. Awesome. So Ben did the music. That's why I want the sound playing, because the music in this game is gorgeous, honestly. And with 48 hours that we did it, like I feel like it's very good. I love the dynamic range style of it and how it builds on. So
is that a fighter plane?
Yep. Yeah. So basically, you're this adult working a dead end day job. You know, you hate your life. You just want to be a kid again. You want to experience what it was like to be a kid again, and so you drift off to sleep, and we'll just go ahead and show it.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of job is he at?
Desk job.
He's a call center guy.
Yeah, probably some kind of temp thing. So now he drifts off to sleep looking at a paper airplane, and he is playing as his childhood play toys in his childhood room. So we can fly this plane around. Sorry if anyone gets dizzy.
So this is the perfect example of, that's super easy to make. It was not easy to make.
I promise this wasn't. Oh, and our 3D model guy that we were talking about earlier, this entire room.
48 hours.
So,
this entire room.
So I will say, so like the books that we have here, and also the toys on the floor, those, and the treasure chest, those, and the vending machine, those are from the asset store that we found in Unity, because you have 48 hours, you want to find as much as you can to populate a room. But the actual room itself, the bed, the desk, the shelves, the fan, the lighting, all of that was done by him, and he did an incredible job of it. So the point of this game is to basically go through and you're collecting items of sentimental value from your childhood. So this trophy here is one, and you see this comic book strip come up. We're telling about the story behind that item. All of these were designed by Devin right here. So Devin was our storyboard artist, and he made all of these. So this is, it's a participation award that he got as a kid.
Don't crash.
I will try not to crash. I believe of all of our team, I was
Kamikaze
the best with this.
You're the best flyer.
I'm definitely the best flyer.
Kamikaze pilot.
For real, dude.
Yeah, it's
What's
hard.
This?
This is a sock monkey. This is a little baby toy from when he was a baby. And so something really cool that
get a heart, boy.
Yeah, let's get some health. Where'd the heart go? Oh, there it is. Couldn't see it for a second. Depth perception. There we go. All right.
Nice.
So we were talking about the music earlier. That was a genius thing that Ben did.
You really enjoy this music.
It goes well with the game, dude.
This was stuck in my head for a week. So every collectible that we get, the music builds upon itself. So right now, you can listen to it for a second, and when I get this cactus, you'll hear it build.
Careful though, you have a timer.
Dude. So.
Why is there a timer?
Well, we thought it was a fun idea.
And then it just made it really
until our player movement was not super great, and we gotta work with that. Learning how to control a plane in code, I found it is kind of difficult. So here's our baseball glove. Oh man. I want to. So see, I'm actually glad we could demonstrate losing because you go back to work and here's your little office desk and that's it. That's just kind of how life goes.
That's depressing, man.
Oh yes, it is.
If you win, if you collect all of the items of sentimental value.
Well, let's try showing.
Yeah.
Here,
so
grab the bat.
Hopefully
first.
I can do it. Oh, I forgot the bat existed. Actually.
Yeah, then there's the last one would be the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I'm a pro.
The freaking butt cheeks are so clenched all the time in this.
Oh yeah. The people that the judges that were coming through and playing, of all of them, unfortunately, only a few were able to succeed. That was our bad with the player movement.
They succeeded?
Yeah, we had a few beat it, and it was really cool. Oh, I'll go and get that health pickup if I don't die right here. Oh. Man. This bed is tricky, but.
You can get out of here. You can get out of here.
We geniusly decided. Oh! All right. Let's go. Let's go for that glove first.
Getting the bat is really hard too.
I find the bat's pretty easy. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. The hardest one is the glove, and then of course the picture on the computer.
Oh, you cheesed it, dude.
Oh,
you cheesed it.
Oh.
You cheesed it. Oh.
All right. Let's get this health. All right.
Stop being a bitch. You don't need help.
Do it all in one go.
Yeah.
So, talking about this whole game jam experience, if anyone watching is, a game developer or trying to learn it, I promise you should try doing a game jam because I did not believe that I had retained any information of programming over the last year that I had been teaching myself. Until I did this game jam, and I realized I actually knew how to do it, and it was a really cool experience to see that I know what I'm doing somewhat, and I'm learning, and it was just a real cool thing to see my experience grow. After I get this fifth object, you'll now hear the full soundtrack, beautifully crafted by Ben. See, what's not to like about this?
Yeah, no, it's pretty good.
It's pretty nice.
I don't know, maybe I always get caught up in like what's called projects where it's like I've listened to this 1,000 times.
Exactly. It definitely was stuck in my head for a little while. But let's get this last thing, and then a little picture of his family, and with that, we have relived our childhood. So now, you win. Now it's gonna go through our credits and everything. Oh, I guess the other names will be shown, huh? Well, yeah, we want to give them credit.
It's public domain. It's public domain.
Public domain. So, game designing and programming is me. Our 3D modeling that we've been going on and on about, Fletcher. Then our other program was one of my friends, Jacob, from school, that he came up to Austin with me to do that. Oops, I gave away our location. We'll cut that out.
We already gave it away a while ago.
All right, cool.
Who's Benjamin?
And then Devin.
That's
Benjamin.
such a bitch boy name.
So what we want to show after the end of this, and other than more beautiful music.
Global Game Jam, you the best.
Yeah, it was so much fun. I'm very glad that we did it. Oh, there's my game company that I'm working on building. Once we have more to show for that, I can talk more about that.
You need Joe to help.
And then going into here, we've got our office desk again. However, letter of resignation. So we're going home to be a kid again. We felt
and thus,
like that was
you're homebound.
Exactly, homebound. So yeah, that was all that and everything, and yeah.
Yeah.
So my little dream project I've been working on, as well as our game jam, and the whole experience with developing has been a very cool thing. I went through about 5 different college degrees, changed it every time, and didn't know what I wanted to do with life until I started learning about the art of game design, and it captivated me. Like I'm so interested in it. I love learning about it. And so I went from there and I started learning how to develop, and I definitely am the happiest I've been in a while doing all of this, and I definitely really like it, and I'm glad that I was able to do this podcast and show you guys what I've been working on and
For sure.
my little project, and I can't wait to come back, a while from now and have something
to look back on.
Yeah, and be able to show a part 2 of Spirit of a Hero.
Hell yeah, dude.
Have it be so much more advanced, I can't wait to have the art done so that I can show that, because I really think that's just going to be like, it's going to be gorgeous.
Hey, we'll follow up with you in a couple months.
Absolutely.
This is going.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that'll be cool. I'm excited.
Any last closing questions, guys?
No, I think we're good.
I think everything's good.
Yeah,
all right,
we enjoyed having you, Colby.
Thank you, man.
I enjoyed doing it.
I enjoyed seeing this progress. It's amazing to see what you got done.
Thank
man.
you, man.
I
remember back when I
in ballpark
when I actually the idea for this game, I came to y'all the day I came up with it. Then y'all came over and we all had dinner that night, like the night that I came up with the idea of
Spirit of a Hero,
of a game where the player is the character and you really are going on that adventure. So I'm glad that I can now, about a year from telling y'all that dream, show y'all at least the basis of it. So
for real,
cool.
This is awesome, man.
Thank you.
It's great.
Right. And with that, we're signing off. Thank you again, Colby.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys in the next one, yeah?
Yeah, we'll be here. Thank you, Colby,
for
coming.
All right.